He needs it more than you do, Anna. My mother's voice was calm, almost dismissive, as she explained why they emptied my college fund. Nearly $45,000 I'd been saving since I was 12. Marcus has a brilliant business idea, and this investment could set him up for life. You're already established in your career. I stood in their kitchen, gripping my coffee mug so tight my knuckles turned white. My name is Anna Mitchell, and at 28, I just discovered my parents had given my entire savings to my stepbrother Marcus, the golden child who joined our family when my mom remarried 5 years ago. Established? I echoed, trying to keep my voice steady. Mom, that money was for my master's degree. I've been planning this for years. You and Dad helped me set up that account. Your father, she corrected sharply, isn't here anymore. Richard is your father now, and we both agree Marcus needs this opportunity. He's young, only 23, and this could be his big break. I thought about all the weekends I'd spent tutoring, the summers working double shifts at the cafe. Every birthday check from relatives carefully deposited into that account. While Marcus spent his college years partying and switching majors, I'd worked my way through school, building towards my dream of advancing my education. Did you even ask me? I managed, though I already knew the answer. That account had my name on it. Richard and I are still co-signers, she replied, turning away to fiddle with the coffee maker. We didn't need to ask. Besides, you're being selfish. Family helps family. Family helps family. The phrase hit me like a slap. Where was that sentiment when I needed help with my undergraduate tuition? Or when I was working 60-hour weeks to make rent during my internship? Marcus had gotten a free ride through college, courtesy of his dad's connections, while I'd fought for every opportunity. Where's Marcus now? I asked, already suspecting the answer. He's in Miami, scouting locations for his business. It's going to be amazing, Anna. A combination cryptocurrency cafe and virtual reality lounge. Richard says it's the next big thing. Of course it was. Just like Marcus's previous next big things. The organic smoothie delivery service that never delivered a single smoothie, or the pet fashion line that consisted of one badly sunned dog sweater. But every failure was just another stepping stone in my stepbrother's journey of self-discovery, according to my mom and Richard. I set my mug down carefully, my mind already racing ahead. When did you transfer the money? Last week. Marcus needed to move quickly on the property lease. She beamed, proud of their quick action to support her stepson's latest scheme. He's already started the paperwork. Isn't it exciting? Last week, the same week I told her about being accepted into the master's program I'd been working towards for 2 years. The same week I'd shared my research plans, my hopes for specializing in environmental science. She'd seemed distracted then, barely listening as I outlined my goals. Now I knew why. I have to go, I said quietly, gathering my bag. I have a meeting. Don't be like this, Anna. You're making this all about you when you should be happy for your brother. He's finally finding his path. Brother. The word felt hollow. Marcus had never been a brother to me. He'd been a tornado that swept into our lives, consuming resources and attention, leaving chaos in his wake, and now he'd taken my future too. But as I drove home that evening, something shifted inside me. The initial shock and anger gave way to a strange sense of clarity. I'd spent years trying to be the responsible one, the understanding one, the one who smiled and nodded while Marcus got everything handed to him. Not anymore. I pulled into my apartment complex and immediately called Dr. Patterson, my old environmental science professor from undergrad. Remember that research position you mentioned last month? Is it still available? The one in Norway? Yes, but Anna, it's quite competitive. The grant only covers basic expenses and you'd need to commit to 3 years of work. I thought you were planning on staying local for your master's? I smiled, thinking of Marcus's cryptocurrency cafe and my mother's proud beam. Plans change. Can you send me the application details? I think it's time for a change of scenery. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, surrounded by grant applications and research proposals. My savings might be gone, but I had something Marcus would never have: determination and a real plan. My mother and Richard had taught me an expensive lesson about family, but I was about to teach them one about consequences. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Marcus wants to have a family dinner next week when he's back from Miami. He wants to share his business presentation with everyone. You'll come, right? Be supportive. I looked at the Norway application on my screen, then back at her text. Of course, I replied. Wouldn't miss it for the world. They had no idea what was coming. The family dinner was exactly what I expected. Marcus held court at the head of the table, gesturing wildly as he described his vision for Crypto Vibe Lounge while my mother and Richard gazed at him adoringly. The VR headsets will be top of the line, he explained, waving a fork loaded with my mother's expensive roast beef. People can trade crypto while immersed in a virtual tropical paradise. It's revolutionary. I sat quietly, pushing food around my plate, watching the performance unfold. Marcus had dressed the part of a successful entrepreneur in a blazer that still had the price tag tucked inside. I'd spotted it when he made his grand entrance, and a Rolex I was certain was fake. Anna, my mother said sharply, noticing my silence. Your brother is sharing his business plan. The least you could do is show some interest. I smiled, setting down my fork. Actually, I have some news of my own to share. Can it wait? Richard interrupted. Marcus needs to tell us about the property he's leasing in Miami. Oh, you mean the property he's leasing with my money? The words came out calmer than I felt. No, I don't think it can wait. The table fell silent. Marcus's confident smile faltered slightly. I've been accepted into a prestigious research program. I continued, pulling out the official letter I'd received that morning. In Norway. Full funding, 3-year commitment, starting next month. My mother's face went pale. Norway? But what about your master's program here? Well, since my savings were redistributed, I had to explore other options. The Norwegian Ecological Research Institute is offering me an incredible opportunity. They're even covering my relocation costs. You can't be serious, Richard sputtered. You can't just move to Norway. What about family? I turned to him, my smile never wavering. Family helps gambling, right? That's what you all said when you took my money. Consider this me helping myself. Marcus shifted uncomfortably in his chair. Look, Anna, about the money. Once CryptoVibe takes off, I'll pay you back double, triple even. That won't be necessary, I replied, standing up. Consider it an expensive lesson in trust, one we've all learned from. My mother followed me to the door, her voice trembling. Anna, please. You're being impulsive. Marcus needs us right now. His business. His business, I cut her off, is no longer my concern. Neither are his future failures or successes. I've spent years being the responsible one, the understanding one. Now I'm being the one who looks out for herself. But who will help us with the holiday planning? And Richard's mother needs rides to her doctor's appointments. And Marcus might need more support for his business. I turned to face her, suddenly understanding. They weren't just losing a daughter, they were losing their reliable backup plan, their free assistant, their endless support system. I'm sure you'll figure it out, I said softly. After all, Marcus is so good with business decisions, right? The next few weeks passed in a blur of preparation. I sold most of my furniture, shipped essential items ahead to Norway, and ignored the constant stream of guilt-tripping messages from my family. Marcus's Miami property deal fell through. Apparently, the perfect location was actually a condemned building with multiple code violations. He lost the deposit, of course. My mother's texts grew increasingly desperate. Marcus is devastated. He really needed this chance. Richard's mother is asking for you. How could you abandon your family like this? What about Marcus's backup plan? He was counting on you to help with the business. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I focused on my upcoming adventure. Dr. Patterson had connected me with the research team in Norway, and we'd already started preliminary discussions about my role in their environmental impact study. The day before my flight, I received an unexpected visit from Marcus. He looked different, the fake Rolex and designer clothes replaced by his usual jeans and t-shirt. I messed up, he said, standing awkwardly in my nearly empty apartment. I shouldn't have taken your money. No, you shouldn't have. I agreed, continuing to pack my remaining books. Mom and Richard, they always made it seem like you were okay with giving up things for the family. For me, I never thought about what that meant for you. I paused, looking at him, and now I realize they did both of us a disservice. They taught me to take, and they taught you to give until there was nothing left. It was probably the most insightful thing I had ever heard him say. Good luck in Norway, he added, turning to leave. I hope you find what you're looking for. I watched him go, feeling a strange mix of emotions. Maybe he was growing up after all. But my path was set, and for the first time in years, I was choosing myself. Norway changed everything. The midnight sun, the crisp Arctic air, and the absolute freedom from family obligations transformed me in ways I never expected. My research team became my new family, one that valued competence over compliance, results over relationships. 6 months into my program, the messages from home slowly shifted tone. My mother's guilt trips gave way to forced cheerfulness. Everything's fine here. Marcus has a new business idea, importing vintage vinyl records. Richard's mother misses you, but we're managing. I'd heard through Dr. Patterson that Marcus's cryptocurrency cafe had never materialized. The money, my money, had disappeared into another failed venture. But for the first time, it didn't affect me. I was too busy conducting environmental impact studies, publishing research papers, and building a reputation in my field. Then came the call that changed everything. Anna, my mother's voice sounded smaller than I remembered. We need to talk. I sat in my small but cozy apartment overlooking the Norwegian fjords, watching the northern lights dance across the sky. I'm listening. Marcus's ventures, they haven't gone well. Richard invested more money, took out loans. We might lose the house. The silence stretched between us, across thousands of miles. I see, I said finally. And what would you like me to do about that? We thought, maybe you could come home. Help us figure things out. You're so good with planning, with numbers. Mom, I interrupted gently, I'm not coming home to fix this. I have a life here. Important work. More important than family? The old guilt-tripping tone crept back in. This is my family now, I replied, looking at the photos on my wall. My research team celebrating our first published paper, weekend hiking trips with colleagues, holiday celebrations with my Norwegian friends. They support my dreams instead of using them as an ATM. I heard her sharp intake of breath. That's not fair. Neither was taking my savings. Neither was expecting me to clean up Marcus's messes. Neither was treating me like a backup plan instead of a daughter. After I hung up, I received an email from Marcus. No demands, no schemes, just honesty. I get it now. Why you left. Mom and Richard are talking about selling the house. And suddenly I'm expected to have all the answers, all the solutions. It's suffocating. I never realized that's how they made you feel all those years. I'm sorry, sis, really. For the first time since leaving, I felt a twinge of something, not guilt, but understanding. I replied with links to financial planning resources and contact information for a reliable career counselor. Start here, I wrote. Build something real this time. A year passed. My research gained recognition in the scientific community. I was invited to present at conferences, contribute to major environmental studies, and even received a grant to expand our research scope. My mother's messages became less frequent but more genuine. She started actually asking about my work, my life, even tried to learn about environmental science to understand my papers. Richard's mother, the one they used as a guilt weapon, wrote me a sweet letter. You were right to go. They needed to learn to solve their own problems. I'm proud of you, dear. Then came the biggest surprise. Marcus enrolled in community college, studying business administration. Real business, not get-rich-quick schemes. He sent me his first semester grades, all A's and B's. No shortcuts this time, he wrote. Working part-time to pay for it myself. It's harder than throwing around investor money, but it feels better. Thanks for showing me there's another way. 3 years after I left, I returned home for a brief visit. The family house had been sold, replaced by a modest rental. My mother had taken a job as a school administrator, her first real job since marrying Richard. They seemed smaller somehow, but also more real. Over dinner, home cooked this time, not at an expensive restaurant, my mother reached for my hand. I didn't understand before, she said quietly, why you had to leave, but watching you build your life, your career, I'm proud of you, Anna, and I'm sorry we tried to hold you back. Marcus, who now worked at a local bank while finishing his degree, nodded. You taught us all something about standing on our own feet, even if we had to learn it the hard way. I looked around at my family, humble but healing, finally growing up in their own ways. Sometimes the hardest lessons are the most important ones, I said. That evening, as I packed for my flight back to Norway, Marcus helped carry my bags. Think you'll ever move back? He asked. I smiled, thinking of my research, my team, my new life. No, I said honestly. But I'll visit. On my home terms this time. He nodded, understanding. Fair enough. We probably owe you about a decade of space anyway. As my plane took off the next day, I realized that sometimes walking away isn't about punishment. It's about giving everyone the chance to grow into better versions of themselves. My parents had given my college fund to my stepbrother, but in doing so, they'd given me something far more valuable, the push I needed to create a life entirely my own.